Good morning, Titans. Today is Friday, May 22nd, and you're watching Titan TV. I'm Kaylin Williams.
And I'm Aaliyah Makahillis. We often see some of our teachers as a parent, but for one of our students, it's a reality. Kayla McCullough has the story.
While many teachers describe their students as children, occasionally it works out so that students are actually taught by their parents. I had the opportunity to talk to one of these unique pairs about the benefits and downfalls of having your parent as your teacher.
I just like seeing him in the hallways and seeing his friends that we've known since kindergarten. I just think that some parents don't get to see their kids in that environment, so I get to torture him by waving at him in the hallways and embarrassing him in front of his friends. I know all of his teachers, and they know me, so I get those mini parent-teacher conferences walking down the hallway to lunch. You know, how's my kid doing? And you know, most of the time it's good, because he is a very good student. So I'm very proud of him for that. I kind of know the ins and outs of the school and what classes to suggest that he take or what kind of routes to take, just because I've been here for 11 years and kind of know how to advise him better.
I've enjoyed having my mom at the school whenever I don't have lunch money. It really makes it nice that I can just walk up here and she'll give me money so I can go buy food. And also, if for some reason I have to sign out of school, it's just a lot easier that she can just walk down there and be like, let him go.
The class that he just happened to be put into, and it wasn't by design, he didn't end up in my class on purpose, it was just scheduling, has some kids that can be off task, and he definitely doesn't help the problem, so we've had to have some conversations outside of school about what my expectations are.
She always gets on to me because I just basically sit in the back and goof off, and then she threatens to dress code me and take away my phone. You're such a mean teacher. Like, really.
Being in the Centennial area and teaching at the same school, it's almost like a small town because everybody knows everybody. So when I go to the grocery store, it's one of my students, past or present, that could be bagging my groceries. So, you know, having him here at the same school is similar to what his father and grandmother had, where she taught at his school, you know, and his dad could be up there at the drop of a hat if he got in trouble. So it's more of like a small town feel, and that's what I was going for. And that kind of supports what Frisco ISD is doing with all their smaller high schools versus the whole Plano West or Allen. If he was at either of those schools, even if I worked there, I'd probably never see him. So I feel that we kind of support the Frisco ISD model.
This is Kayla McCullough with Titan TV.
Ms. Carlock is a great science teacher. We need more like her.
Men often dominate the fields of science and engineering. However, more young girls should be encouraged to pursue these careers.
Throughout the country, research has found that there is a large gender gap between men and women in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, or STEM careers. STEM is a curriculum based on educating students in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics using an interdisciplinary and applied approach.
A lot of women aren't in engineering because they don't believe they can do it. They don't think they belong. If you're a logical thinker and you're good at math, you might be really, really good at computer science, but you'll never know until you try.
From childhood, a lot of times still, I think boys are real encouraged to build things, and they have blocks and Hot Wheels and all kinds of Legos and stuff. And those are still not really that big of a girl's toy, I think, when you're little, even though girls, I think, will be just as likely to want to play with them. So I think it starts with that early childhood experience. And then, unfortunately, I think a lot of times activities in elementary schools and things tend to kind of foster that same difference or division between the genders. So by the time we get them, sometimes girls have definitely given up on math and science when they could have really excelled at it.
I think, like, just in general, if you're intelligent regardless of your gender, your race, or ethnicity, I feel like you should go out there and achieve your full potential. You shouldn't let anything hold you down.
I really like to see girls who like math and science to go into a science career, especially something in technology, engineering. I think those are great careers. I think they ultimately that has to be the career that they want to do, that they choose to do. You know, I know in my class I try to encourage kids to do that and go into those careers that they're really very well suited for.
66% of fourth grade girls have said they're interested in science and math, but only 18% of engineering majors in college are females. Due to gender stereotypes experienced at a young age, girls' confidence will drop from 72% to 55% from middle school to high school. The U.S. Navy offers education opportunities for their STEM programs, which students can pursue, and has a few programs to help educate more of their undergraduate and graduate students.
I think really, you should probably just get their interest up, tell them what opportunities they have, what benefits science and engineering careers can give them.
A lot of the encouragement is just being aware that it's available. So word of mouth works really well for the young ladies that maybe are in some of my computer science classes, because I teach computer science and I also teach computer maintenance. So for the women that want to go out there and try and see if this is their skill set, come and give it a try. Because one of the things is, in computers and technology in general, there is going to be a huge imbalance in supply and demand.
Despite the difference between male and female factors in the STEM field, women's involvement in these programs continue to increase. Efforts to encourage early interest in young students, especially girls, will help to close the gender gap in the near future. This is Alyssa Harmon with Titan TV.
Regardless of your major, college can be costly. Here's Zach Forrest with the story.
Now, we all know college can get pretty expensive. In fact, the increasing annual rates have dramatically grown over the past few years from 4% to 11%. But the true question is, why have so many schools gone up in prices? I went searching to find out more about this educational epidemic. Over the past 50 years, the average annual cost of tuition, fees, and room and board at public and private level have risen by 101% to 137% respectively. In fact, the cost of tuition at SMU has risen from $38,870 during the 2013-14 season to $48,190. That's a $9,320 rise. I spoke to Centennial Counselor Miss Claire about her thoughts on the price rise.
It's astronomical, actually. It definitely impacts the decisions our students make on where they attend. I recommend community college, period. It's a great option, and many of our students take that route to college. You must consider finances. I think it's a mistake to not factor in the financial cost of college. Yes, it definitely makes things harder. It does limit, I think, some choices for some kids, but I do believe in the end that where you go to college is not really that important. It's just that you go to college and you finish your degree and start your life.
I then decided to speak to Dr. Brenda Keel, Vice President and Provost of Collin College in Frisco, to have her views and facts on the matter.
Yes, tuition and fees is going up astronomically, but there are several factors that kind of factor into that rising cost. And it really depends on the college or university, because each one has a little bit different mission. Where you get your funding sources and how you fund the college is very, very different. About 25% of our funding comes from the state. So if the state is having economic issues, that kind of trickles down to the colleges and universities. I think one of the biggest issues is colleges and universities are having a lot more accountability measures placed on them to be more transparent and explain what is our graduation rate, how are our students, are they being successful, are they completing their degrees, are they getting certifications, are they completing courses. And we, as an institution, want to be sure that our students are successful. So what that means is we need to incorporate a lot more student services. It makes operating a college a lot more expensive.
This is Zach Forrest, Titan TV.
Many of us have lived in Frisco for years and watched it grow.
But what happens when a city stops growing?
For some of us, Frisco has always been what we called home. As we have grown up, Frisco has grown around us. People have moved here by the thousands. Businesses have come and gone. Our little hometown has become one of the fastest growing cities in the nation. But what happens when all of this growth stops?
When I grew up, there were about 600 people in town. We had about 300 students in school.
No district in the state or nation has grown faster in the past 20 years.
There was a Howard School, and then there was another school built up close to where the old administration building is.
The building was a 3-story brick building. There were only 11 grades at that time.
By 2020, Frisco will have opened 77 campuses to over 70,000 kids.
A lot of people moved to Frisco because of the school system. We have so many of the sports venues and places for the young adults to play and participate. If you work in Dallas, you get on the toll roads, you can get to Dallas a lot faster.
Richard Wilkinson, Frisco ISD's Deputy Superintendent for Business Services, informed us that they have taken steps to slow the addition of new campuses as Frisco reaches its build-out. This included having architectural firms look into the blueprints of each school. These firms said that in 15 to 30 years down the road, our schools could easily be sold and converted into nursing homes, senior living facilities, or medical centers. Though they are not intentionally building the schools this way, Mr. Wilkinson confirmed that they could easily be converted to these useful facilities should the district enrollment decline. The student population could potentially never drop, but if it does, Mr. Wilkinson predicts that it will be because Frisco residents will have grown older and have fewer school-aged children.
Well, right now we have about 150,000 people. It'll take us a while to get to build out, maybe adjusted again before we hit that number.
This is Katie reporting for Titan TV.
Domestic violence can affect anyone at any age. One organization seeks to spread awareness and provide support.
Caitlin Whitehead visits Hope Store.
Every 9 seconds, a woman is assaulted or beaten in the United States alone. Domestic violence is experienced by all kinds of people in all kinds of places. Hope Store, based in Plano, Texas, is an organization dedicated to helping domestic violence victims and preventing the issue. We talked to Vanessa Votter, their education program manager, about this issue.
Domestic violence is a really broad topic, and it incorporates everything from what we stereotypically think of as domestic violence, but it also encompasses child abuse, when teens abuse their parents, which unfortunately we're seeing a rise in some areas of our community, and it involves dating violence. So whether you're married to someone or not, if there is violence and emotional or sexual or physical abuse, anything like any kind of abuse in the home, then that counts as domestic violence. The victim can be affected in all kinds of ways. We see often depression, fear, isolation, not leaving the house, no longer being able to work.
We also talked to Stephanie Zabel, who has experienced domestic violence, about her story.
I was married previously, and my first husband was quite abusive, both physically and emotionally, verbally, and I was with him for about 7, almost 8 years. Abuse is not always physical. In fact, the most damaging thing I went through wasn't being hit. It was the verbal abuse I received, the emotional abuse, the feeling like I wasn't loved. You know, people who are abusers are controllers, and these are people who control everything you do, from your actions to your emotions. So they will play with you. So one minute somebody might be really, really nice to you, and the next minute they're going to kind of put you down, make you feel humiliated, and that's a control mechanism. That's what people do that want to control you.
So what can you do to help? Educate yourself.
Listen, be available for them, also to reach out to the agencies and the people who can help them, but be available to listen and be willing to help them and step out to those agencies who can protect them.
We need volunteers all the time. We do allow volunteers 16 years old and up. If you want to come play with some of our great kids, we've got an awesome playroom. You can volunteer at our resale store. What I can say is you're not alone. You're not in this alone, and there are resources.
Everybody should be able to have their own thoughts. They should feel comfortable in their own skin and not feel humiliated or embarrassed by who they are. If somebody truly loves you and cares about you, they're not going to embarrass you. They're not going to humiliate you. They're not going to say things about you behind your back. That's not love, and that's not true caring.
This is Caitlin Whitehead, Titan TV.
If you or someone you know has been affected by domestic abuse, go to hopestoreinc.org.
Stay tuned for sports.
Hey Titans, I'm Kristen Espinosa with the final sports update of the year. All of our team sports did fantastic this year, with every team making the playoffs for their sport. Every one of our athletes represented well and gave it their all. Congratulations to our sports programs. Here are the final records and placements for all of our team sports. Football ended district with a 5-5 record and were by district qualifiers. Boys basketball ended district with a 10-6 record and were by district champions. Girls basketball finished third in district with a record of 10-6 and ended as by district qualifiers. Baseball finished 9-7 in the district and were by district qualifiers as well. Softball finished with an impressive 12-4 district record and finished as by district finalists. Volleyball finished well, taking the title of district champions and also becoming regional quarterfinalists. Girls soccer ended as regional quarterfinalists as well. And finally, boys soccer ended as district champions and were regional quarterfinalists.
Hey Titans, I'm Mitchell Greger. Recently, our basketball team made it to the second round of the 4A basketball playoffs. While they came up short at the buzzer against Dallas Wilson, they fought hard and learned a lot about themselves and their team. Now, offseason is beginning, and I talked to the coach and the players about how they will prepare to get back to the playoffs and even try for state.
During the offseason, we shift our focus from team to individual. What we're trying to do in the off season, pretty much all spring, is work on individual offensive skills, because they are skilled. They can dribble, pass, and shoot. And by spending this much time in the spring working on those skills, we believe we increase our players' ability to make plays. And the more plays you make in a game, the better chance you have of being successful. I think the first thing that has to be established is our incoming seniors have got to be strong leaders. They have to be willing to set the example every day when they come to practice, and hold each other accountable and hold their teammates accountable to what they hold important next season. Once we start in the fall, it's just going to become a matter of how we continue to improve throughout the fall. Once we get into the season, and how we continue to improve through the season is going to determine whether or not we're able to at least match what we did the previous season, or hopefully we'll be able to advance farther than we did.
My personal goal is to make myself and the players around me better for the upcoming season, because I feel like we can still make it far next year and go even further than next year. I think it'll take our same play style, our fundamental. We are very fundamentally sound, and I feel like that's what carried us into beating other teams that are so-called athletic. But I feel like with all our fundamentally and shooting personality, we get a lot of shots up, and I feel like we'll do great next season, even with our defense too, with the point zone. We'll approach it the same way. I feel like we still have talent, even though we lost some. I feel like with the type of defense we have, we'll still keep the same mentality of having a great defense. In our offense, where the newcomers and the people that hopefully are in varsity next year are catching up and trying to getting the continuity straight.
I plan on getting in the gym and getting a bunch of shots up, trying to get at least thousands of shots a week so that I can improve my jump shot. We're going to need a unified team. Whenever we get moving, we start flowing together, and that's what's going to take to get to the playoffs. We're all going to have to get in the gym, put in hours a week, a bunch. And I think if we all put in the work that we put in last offseason and do even more work, then we should be able to go further in the playoffs.
Obviously, the basketball team has been working very hard, and next season they will continue to work hard to try to get back to where they left off in the playoffs. I'm Mitchell Greger, Titan TV.
A big congratulations to all of our Titan athletes and good luck next year. This is Kristen, Titan TV.
That's it for our last regular Titan TV show of the year.
Join us next week for our special edition of our senior show. Have a great weekend, Titans.